Wow.
Trick magicians. The entire atmosphere is pulled down by gravity.
Yes. If there was no gravity, that atmosphere would disperse into the vacuum of space.
It's a great place to start, Mr. Sensible. If there was no gravity, then that atmosphere would absolutely disperse into the vacuum of space.
As it is, gravity has its effect on each and every molecule in the atmosphere. Just like you lobbing a tennis ball in the air, it will turn around and come back down. The same force is acting on those air molecules. Simple.
Don't take any notice of the natural law this violates.
What natural law? Those air molecules are trying to whiz around and fly off into the vacuum of space, but there's a force holding them back. And that force is greater than their ability to overcome it. So they remain. But we do lose several hundred tons of atmosphere a day.
Oh really, Mr. Sensible? And what force would that be? Because gravity's not a force, mate. You better brush up on the current understanding of gravity. Here, let me help. From the University of Caltech. Einstein came up with the theory of general relativity 1915, the prototype of all modern gravitational theories. Its crucial ingredient involving a colossal intellectual jump is the concept of gravitation, not as a force, but as a manifestation of the curvature of space-time.
The reason the bowling ball and the feather fall together is because they're not falling. They're standing still. There is no force acting on them at all.
Brian Cox, there is no force acting on them at all.
Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Maybe that's the... Now, literally, it's not a force.
George Musa, 2019. It is literally not a force. From Wikipedia, gravity is most accurately described by general theory of relativity, which describes gravity not as a force. From Universe Today, in general relativity, gravity is not a force. From physics.org, according to this theory, gravity is not a force. From Physics Info, from the Physics Hypertextbook, gravity isn't a force. So, Mr. Sensible, now that we know there is no force of gravity to hold down those air molecules, how is it that gas pressure, those air molecules, do not disperse randomly in all directions into the vacuum of space? You ask, which natural laws does this violate? As described by NASA, the entropy of gas, or the second law of thermodynamics, is being violated here. Also, ideal gas law, PV equals RT. And I'd also like to point out to you that that V is a volume. To have gas pressure, it is a necessary antecedent to have a container, which is defined as the volume. No container, no gas pressure. That would also violate that natural law.
And the globe literally being the only example of this violation and can't be demonstrated.
Well, what about Venus then? That's got an atmosphere. And Mars, that's got an atmosphere, although very thin. Jupiter, that's almost all atmosphere. Saturn and Neptune, much the same. So there are other examples of great amounts of gas being held down by gravity so that they can't disperse amongst the vacuum or into the vacuum of space.
And according to you, whereabouts are these planets? Oh, back in your sky vacuum. That's right. The place that violates natural laws. Yeah, we can't use fake places as examples, mate. And as I showed, gravity doesn't pull anything down, especially not gas pressure. It's not a force. How about you show us gas pressure without a container, or gas pressure next to a vacuum with gravity stopping it from dispersing?
Nature can never allow a vacuum to exist.
Can't it? Look up at the night sky. 99.999999999 and a lot more nines % of the universe is vacuum.
Your fundamentalist religious beliefs won't be tolerated. if gas pressure was next to a vacuum, it would expand in all directions and fill the available space, as per entropy, described in the second law of thermodynamics. What you describe is a violation of these natural laws, something that you can never demonstrate.
This is entropy.
Say entropy again. Say entropy again. I dare you. I double dare you.
Following the second law of thermodynamics.
Say second law of thermodynamics one more time. Say second law of thermodynamics one more time. I dare you. I double dare you, father mucker. Say second law of thermodynamics one more goddamn time.
Triggered much, mate? I know, it's painful seeing your religion getting absolutely demolished. Let's just repeat that one last time. If gas were next to a vacuum, entropy, that trigger word, it would take effect, and as per second law of thermodynamics, it would expand into the given volume. Yeah, sit down before you hurt yourself.
Sorry, that was a bit Tarantino. Look, Mitchell, you don't know what gravity is. You don't know what entropy is. You don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is. You don't know what a vacuum is. Hell, you don't even know what surface tension is. You don't know much, really.
Don't project your own lack of understanding onto me, mate. Oh, you don't understand. Yeah, classic borderline when their religion has been so demolished that they've got no arguments left. Understand this, Mr. Sensible. Gravity is not a force. And by your own admission, if there were no gravity, the entire atmosphere would absolutely disperse into the vacuum of space. Next time you attempt to hit piece more on my videos, don't mess it up, mate. Here you go. Try this one on for size. I double dog dare you. Father mucker.
Wow.